We begin with our expert panel and three things investors ought to be thinking about right now. On the Barron's Roundtable, my colleagues Ben Levisohn, Elizabeth O'Brien, and Andrew Bary. So Ben, great week for the S&P 500, and the Dow did even better, going up more than 2%. So a little broadening in the markets. We fell a little bit on Friday, but still hit an all-time record in the middle of the trading day. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of amazing. I went away for a week. When I left, the market was falling apart. Everyone was worried we'd top down. I come back and everything's hunky-dory again. And it really does look that way. I mean, we had a really solid week. As you said, the Dow was the one that led it higher. We had a real breadth in the market. It's not just the Magnificent Seven going up, but we had software stocks more than doubled how well Apple and the rest of those stocks did this week. So you're really just seeing a market where people are buying stocks that they like, and the market's going up.
Washington has been totally dominating the news, and yet what might be driving stocks is just good old-fashioned earnings.
Yeah, I mean, I look at what's coming out of earnings season right now, and it's fantastic. We had banks started us off the previous week. They did very well. They went up. This week we had things like Netflix. Netflix came out with a superb number. They're raising prices, which kind of stinks for all of us who use it, but the stock is going up, and it's just if the earnings keep coming like that, this is going to be a great earnings season. One of the things I saw is that they're beating by 8.7%, which is much larger than normal, and the stocks that beat on revenue and earnings, they're going up 3%, and that's probably more than 2 or 3 times what they normally do.
We should point out that stocks almost always beat analyst estimates. The joke is, that they draw the line so the stocks can jump over it. But as you said, they're beating by more than usual, and a higher percentage of stocks are beating.
Yeah, I mean, I also want to minimize the impact of Washington. The inauguration just highlighted the U.S. is going to be a very good place to do business over the next 4 years. There's also the potential for deregulation, which may be underestimated. Piper Sandler analyst came out this week and said that it may have cut GDP by as much as 6 percentage points over the last 4 years, regulation.
True enough. And then let's talk about the Fed. Federal Reserve meeting next week. It was supposed to be a ho-hum affair. They were going to stand pat on rates. And then Trump went on a Zoom call with Davos and demanded that the Fed lower rates. How's that going to work out?
I think Trump is going to have to get used to disappointment here. The Fed is looking at the data. And right now the data says don't do anything. We don't know what inflation is doing. It may be heading lower. It may be sitting where it is right now, and that's where it's going to go. Or it could go up. But we just don't know. And the right thing to do is for Powell to hold steady, and that's what he's going to do.
All righty. Andrew, we saw those tech executives on the dais at the inauguration. 3 of them are back in the spotlight next week when they report earnings.
Well, tech has been driving the market. It's about 40% of the S&P 500. And as tech goes, so goes the market. Investors will be particularly interested in Apple's earnings, which come out this coming week. The stock has been weak this year, down around 10%. And investors are concerned about a number of things that they want to see Tim Cook address. One of them is weakness in sales in China, as well as its lagging efforts in artificial intelligence and AI, and incorporating that into iPhones. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg was recently critical of the innovation under the Tim Cook era.
So speaking of Zuck, really interesting ride there. Wonderful 3-year record with that stock. Then less than a year ago, Trump says that he was going to jail him for life. Then Zuck gets rid of fact-checking, a few other changes. Suddenly he's back in favor, and the stock's still doing well.
Yeah, the stock is doing great. And I mean, Meta has made probably one of the biggest bets on AI in the tech sector. Zuckerberg just came out on Friday and said they may invest as much as $65 billion this year, which is about equal to their net income. And investors, when Facebook reports or Meta reports, are going to want to know about some of the efforts in AI and just what the payoff is going to be.
All right, so then let's go to First Bro, Elon Musk. That stock has gained $50 billion in market cap since the election.
It's been a lot more than
500 billion, excuse me, 500.
And
silly me.
I know, it's been up over 50%. I think people want to see whether Tesla can keep the momentum going. Investors will be focused on a couple things: the new Model 2 car, low-end car. How is that going? When will it come out? And also on the AI and also the autonomous driving initiatives, which have really been a big driver for Tesla stock.
All right, let's go to a more prosaic sector. Good old retail, Elizabeth.
Yep.
Barron's writes this week about a turnaround story.
Yeah, it's Victoria's Secret, which, like Nike, has a new CEO looking to sort of right the ship. Now, in the case of Nike, investors had said it lost its cool, but things were even more serious at Victoria's Secret several years ago, which, of course, faced serious allegations of sexual misconduct at the top. Now its new CEO is a woman. The stock is up about 60% over the past year. So you could say the turnaround is well underway, but still it's trading more cheaply than the broad market.
And I think there's a cultural shift that Victoria's Secret was caught on the wrong side of. Now things might be changing. Lauren Sanchez might have made the world
She's
safe for
leading the
lingerie
way.
again.
I'm a big fan of all these turnarounds,
Yeah.
but there's a part of me that just says, hey, you know what? I want to buy the big guys that are doing it right. And one of them is Walmart, where it's gone big into tech, it's bringing in all shoppers from all walks of life, and it's doing really great. The stock is very strong. I'd actually look at that instead.
Well, I mean, Walmart's not a cheap stock. It's trading for almost 40 times earnings. It was the best stock in the Dow last year. So I'd be a little bit cautious at these levels, given that a lot of good news, I think, is baked into Walmart's stock price.
Give us two smaller names. We're almost out of time, but two that our writer likes.
Okay, one is Torrid Holdings, which sells plus sizes online, and the other is J. Jill. Both have good growth potential.
Thanks, Elizabeth.